This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
And I say, hey, what a wonderful kind of day. If you could learn to work and play and get along with each other.
Welcome everybody to Wednesday War Games, episode number 42. Joining me as always with my lovely co-host Liam as I just slur my words to hell. But who cares? That's the kind of podcast we are, right, Liam? Who needs to say things clearly?
Yeah, boy, bug snacks.
You've already gone straight to bug snacks.
Bug
Why are you leading
snacks.
into the memes?
Whoa. I mean,
Have you
it's a
played the new
catchy
meme
tune.
game?
What's the new meme game? The Fall Guys one?
Yeah.
I watched someone play it. I haven't played it.
I downloaded it yesterday, but I may never play it.
It looks fun, but I heard there's only 25 courses, and that feels like a game that needs more than 25 courses.
Also, apparently the servers are just completely on fire.
But, that being said, big shout-outs to Devolver Digital for getting, like, a mainstream Smash hit, apparently.
It's basically the new Rocket League. It's the exact same formula as Rocket League, where they dumped it on PS Plus and it became a sensation. So here we go again.
But, like, you know, I will always root for Devolver. They're, like, the one interesting game developer out there.
There's Annapurna as well. They publish very interesting games.
Yeah, but they don't have meme E3s. Meme 3s.
Memes are bad. You know my stance on memes, Liam.
Yeah, but what if they take shots at the big dogs?
I don't care. Memes are bad.
What if they were talking about bug snacks?
I'm not fun. You know, I just said I don't like bug snacks before we hit record. Not even
What are your
as a
thoughts on
meme.
Master Wato.
He's a good wrestler.
Hell yeah, he rules. I unironically love him, and anyone who is liking him for a meme is a bandwagoner, and I don't want them on my bandwagon that I am leading the bandwagon of.
You don't want them near your master Watto.
No, like, if you're just liking him because he looks like a dope, get out of here. I appreciate the man behind the dopiness, alright? Go have your fake fandom of Yoshihashi, alright? Go pretend you like Yoshihashi. Fuck off. Master Wato's for true fans.
Did the trio of Watto, Ibushi, and Tanahashi win in the Never title thing?
Yes?
You should know these things. I don't keep up with New Japan. It's a bad company. All these companies are bad. All wrestling is bad.
I chose to watch DDT and Dragon Gate instead of New Japan today.
Wow.
Bug
God.
snacks. Whoa.
Why have you suddenly... I suppose you watched the State of Play or something, did you?
I watched a reaction to the State of Play because it didn't seem like anything was actually revealed, so I just watched that instead.
Hey, Crash looks cool.
The reason I'm seeing Bug Snacks is because I'm still playing that 10-hour Bug Snack song in the background.
Stop it. Turn it off.
Okay, I'll change it. Wardlow theme.
Yeah, the proper thing to get your takes fired up for a podcast on a Saturday night in Australia.
War. Yeah. 11:20 p.m, baby.
Saturday War Games.
Past curfew.
You can't leave the house.
Melbourne has a curfew. I legally cannot. I'll be arrested on the spot. That's weird, to live in a place where there's a curfew.
Oh, well, it's necessary.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not fighting it. But I'm just like, I think it's just a weird experience.
What use is a curfew?
I guess it's just to stop people from going out and fucking.
All right.
Yeah.
Like,
Don't-
just close things. How many people are
Don't-
going outside then instead?
Don't go out and slang your dick around, alright? Or your other bits, I don't know. Who's the fucking involved?
Every week we review all the Wrestling Dynamite and WWE NXT.
These are two tape shows, bro. No one cares about these taped shows.
And last week
We want live
AEW
pro
won.
wrestling. Nah, shut up. Nah, I'm taking over. Last week AEW won, so we're gonna start off hot with AEW this week.
Continue.
See, you like it? Oh shit!
You then have to pivot into the opening match, and then I say something about the opening match before I leave a window then for you to say something about the opening match, and then the conversation spins off from there. Maybe have another one or two talking points about the opening match before I sense using my podcast host like Spidey sense that you no longer have anything to say and I move on, or you do have something to say and I move on nonetheless.
And then I get sad and cry. Okay. So, the first match, Garrett, on this wonderful card was the Dork Order versus Hangman Page, Kenny Omega, FTR, and the Young Bucks.
It wasn't entirely the Dark Order.
Yeah, 5 was 9. There's a new one, 9.
It's just
Who the fuck's
someone
9?
there. But they have 10. Why didn't they put 10 in the match?
He's hurt. 10's hurt.
He could just stand there. Could just be on the apron.
To be fair, 9 took a few bumps, and then he just bounced. And I don't remember the rest of him being there.
Wasn't there an 8 once or a 7?
Yeah, 8 and 7 were killed in a tag match, and then Brody laid them out. So I don't think they're there anymore.
No, they've been kicked out of the Dark Order.
Mm.
So that leaves us with 9.
I guess. What will 9 be kicked out?
Because 7, 8, 9.
So you know what was fun about this match, right?
It was a good tag team match.
Yeah, well, besides that, at the start, right, I thought they did it. It was booked so perfectly because it was all these like big stars just like running away with the match, right? Like there was like all the Elite FTR, they were beating the shit out of these guys, and they made them look like jokes, and then they were like, oh yeah, blah blah blah, and then they gave themselves an out with the FTR injury and Hangman leaving, right? And I was like, all right, so that's how they're gonna get out of it. Even though they were the big guys beating up the lower card guys. Hangman and FTR lost, it was still 6-on-3, right? But then Hangman came back, and I was like, all right, so they're just gonna have them win, like, okay, they overcame the odds, and then it's like, no, they lost anyway. I was like, wait a minute, you had the structure perfect, and then you like decided to fuck it up by just having Hangman come back, and then losing.
You were on a real emotional roller coaster in this match, then, weren't you?
It wasn't even emotional, it was more an analytical roller coaster.
I have worked out the booking. Wait, I have not worked out the booking. No, wait, the booking is different.
Yeah, and therefore bad.
They still lost 6-on-4, even though 2 of the people were nameless, faceless goons. And do they really count?
So, I don't know, it kind of made them look shitty, I think.
You just should have pinned Nick Jackson.
Yeah. Have a big 6-man, Brody lays him out and then pins him or some shit.
Nick Jackson, who, by the way, looked incredible in this. Is Nick Jackson getting better? Like, is he getting better?
Well, you see, he just hit 30, so he's just entering the prime.
Nick Jackson is only 4 years older than Darby Allin.
Nick Jackson needs to go singles.
Well, the Young Bucks have to win the tag belts first.
Yeah, but they'll win them when they're like 50. It's fine.
You can't have the Young Bucks not win the AEW World Tag Team titles. You just can't.
Yeah, but then it can be one of those things. You know, the Bucks never won the AEW Tag Team titles.
Do you want that to be one of those things?
I don't know. I'm indifferent to the idea. I just want Nick to start getting his singles run because I thought if they don't do it now, it's going to make me feel like they're never going to do it.
You were raving about Brody Lee and Hangman's exchange, so if they booked the match the way you wanted to, you'd never get to see that exchange.
Yeah, I got to admit, I do really want that match. Maybe in like the lead up to All Out. Give us like a Dynamite main event with it.
What is the World Tag Team title match at All Out?
Okay, these are my 2 thoughts.
Uh-huh.
Either it is Brody Lee and Colt Cabana versus Hangman and Omega.
Okay, interesting.
Or it is Omega and Hangman versus FTR.
But in both those instances, what do the Young Bucks do?
The Young Bucks face Brody Lee and Colt Cabana. Or someone else. They won't blow off the FTR without a... I don't think they'll blow off the FTR match without a crowd. Like, I think they're not going to do that until they can draw with it.
The other potential option is a Bucks, FTR, Page and Omega triple threat.
I don't want FTR and Bucks to touch until they have the match. I think it's had 4 years, 5 years build. Don't have them first blow it up, like don't blow any of it. Don't have them have a match until you're doing the actual match, is how I feel. But I think Colt and Brody are going to be involved somewhere.
This is the sickest tag team in the land, Liam.
Yeah, I'm into it. Let's see what... I like this Colt Cabana story. And also, you know how last week you were giving out about Cabana?
Yes.
And how he's a dope? I was like, we're looking at this all from the wrong perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Clearly, Cabana's just in on it.
Oh, all right.
And he's just playing up I'm a good guy. I don't actually know what they're all doing. When he knows full well, and because he's winning, he's taking it anyway. That's my new theory, that Cabana's in on it, and it's a red herring.
Evil man.
But yeah, I think that might be it, which would make you happy because it would make Colt look like not a dope.
Yes, they would do the very annoying nobody watches the wrestling show thing, which I hate. I really hate it.
But really good match. This week on both shows, I had a lot of really good matches. I think I had like 4 or 5 that made my spreadsheet.
So your match of the week thing will be a different kind of rather than your recent
exactly.
of having absolutely no idea.
I think I know what it's going to be, but it's honestly it's like there's a 4-way race for it. Yeah, good match, 3 3/4. Because I'm going to bring star ratings back. For some reason, we literally never talk about star ratings, and I'm like, yeah, 3 3/4.
I always think talking about star ratings on podcasts is weird. Star ratings is for a written form.
Yeah, all right. So it's not. I'll say it's a strong 7 out of 10.
Okay, yes, that's exactly what I meant there.
That when you change it into the numerical value, that's what brings it to the verbal format.
Is it just me? And I know logically 3.5 stars is 7 out of 10, like converted in math. But for me, 3.5 stars feels higher than 7 out of 10, and that doesn't make sense logically.
See, I don't. I think it's dead on the money, which it is.
Yeah,
Math,
well, yes, that's how
math
numbers
supports
work.
me. but like for me, because lately I've been getting a lot more into like rating movies and such, and I find that I much prefer, like with movies and with albums, I much prefer a 1 to 10 over
like the
a star rating.
granularity.
Yeah, but I like being able to say, like, I guess you can do it with stars, with like quarters and, God forbid, thirds. I like to be able to go like, hey, I think this album is a 7, but it's closer to an 8 than it is to a 6.
So just do 6
Like,
to
I like
5
that.
or 6.5.
Yeah. Or 7 to 5.
Or 7 to 5 or 8.
I said 7, closer to an 8.
I wasn't paying attention to you. There's a plane flying.
Clearly.
Over. It's very
It's
upsetting.
not like that's the entire point of this thing. Oof. But yeah, I think that's it. I like having that kind of more direct mathematical thing for movies and albums and such. But with wrestling, it's a little more over the place.
Well, there's the established star rating scale, that's a Jim Cornette invention, isn't it?
Apparently so, yeah. That's what I've always heard the story was.
John
But-
Moxley. Oh no, you're not done.
Anything
Okay.
above a 5 is stupid. I will say that.
I don't know. You have a scale. Don't break the scale. I just find that so dumb.
But then we get best friends.
John
Unless you have
Moxley
anything to
cut a
say.
promo.
I thought the best friends thing was before the John Moxley promo.
What best friends thing? The
They
match.
showed up in Trent's mum's van.
Oh yeah, they pulled up in the van. Who cares about that? Well, actually,
it
it's actually
ruled.
quite
No.
relevant for this show.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Jesus Christ. Just skipping over points that were like of show long angles.
No one cares about cars. I'm going to give it about that later. Do your John Moxley impression. That's the more important thing.
That's not ready.
Talk about how John Moxley wants to kill Darby Allin, and he's a big fan, but he wants to kill him.
There you go. That's a preview.
That will be our Patreon exclusive content. Liam does the John Moxley impression.
Yeah, you know when I'll do it? When NXT or AEW finally gives up.
Oh, it'll be our
on the
finale.
Wednesday
We'll
time
finally do
slot.
the John Moxley impression.
I
in
will do the
finale.
John Moxley impression. I didn't actually practice it this week. I did legitimately practice it last week.
No. You didn't do it?
I was in the shower and I was like doing the impression, and that's when I was like, I got to like CZW era Mox, but I can't do like old traveled man Mox. He's too much.
You just cannot handle it.
I need to smoke so much, and I'm still taking that sponsorship. If anyone wants to take me up on that offer.
The Best Friends defeated the Santana Ortiz in yet another Gentleman's 3 on the credentials
sad.
of the Best Friends. A lot of
I'm
Gentleman's 3s for the Best Friends lately.
No, they had the 2 slightly better matches than 3.
Gentleman's 3 1/4.
Yes, they had the good match with Hangman and Omega.
But
They had the good match with the 2 wrestlers of the year.
Yeah, the match that I thought was slightly disappointing because it was only a good match.
Yeah, and they had the even better match with Kip Sabian and Redacted.
Oh, yeah, but that was ages ago at this stage. That was like 3 months ago. 4 months ago?
It was,
Okay.
I'm counting all COVID shows are in the same bubble.
Indeed. Santana Ortiz lose yet again. Great.
Why are they doing it to these guys?
I don't know.
The only way I'll accept this change with Santana and Ortiz is if the plan is King comes in and slaps them and tells them to get serious.
They should just do LAX.
Desert Jericho.
Like, legitimately, they should just do LAX. They can't use the LAX name, but they should just do LAX.
Because like they have such an easy way to transition into that now. You have someone there who's like, you're losing, and like, if that is the story where the story is like they can't get it done, and it's going to take someone new to get them to be fired up and to actually start winning again, then that's fine. That is the story.
Do you know who told that story?
I just have no faith in that story that's going to be told.
If you go back to 2018 TNA...
Yeah, it ruled.
When King was introduced, that was the exact story they told. LAX were on a losing streak, King turned it around, King took out Conan, then King brought in the OGs to face LAX instead.
The Oggs.
The Oggs, indeed. Homicide and Hernandez.
Yeah, but like, and that rules. Do that again.
Including Homicide and Hernandez.
Yeah. Same payoff. And then do all like the gimmick matches that they did, and then run over a kid. Everything. Perfect. Let's go.
Richie!
And then just King being like, I don't give a shit that I killed that kid.
Kid deserved it.
For being fans of LAX.
MJF had a promo in his campaign headquarters. I'm still upset Lee Johnson is involved here.
I mean, it gets him on TV.
I don't care. I want him doing... He should be an MJF spot in main event and All Out.
Not yet. I mean, like 5 years down the line, man.
Push Lee Johnson. MJF is bad. Lee Johnson is good.
One day we're going to get a big Lee Johnson Kenny Omega match, and it's going to make the podcast explode.
You see, Lee Johnson is added to our list of Mel and Wardlow as memes now, and...
No, Lee Johnson was like there before even Wardlow. Because like Wardlow, he was like, not until he started doing the squashes that we got... Well, that was when you got back on the Wardlow train. I was already on the Wardlow train. I was on the Wardlow train from the Cody
I'm still
match.
in the very specific circumstances Wardlow train, but yes.
No, you gave up on that point.
No.
There was a few squashes back where you were just like, nah, screw it. And you were all in on him too, and you can't go back on that.
Yeah, he should just kill MJF and take his spot in the All-Out main event. Many people should replace the MJF in the All-Out main event is my theory.
It's gonna be fine. Mox is really good at wrestling.
Matt Hardy cut a promo in the ring. He's mad at Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara jumped him and then threw a chair in his face.
And people are mad about that, apparently.
I don't know. Shit happens.
Hate, brother.
It's poor. And yeah, it made the angle better. But I don't know. It's like, if he didn't throw the right chair, where was the right chair? You know, this is why you block out... Like, AEW does this thing where Chris Jericho on his podcast is always like, we're professionals. We don't walk through segments. Stuff like this is why you walk through segments. So it's like, all right, this is where you are. This is where the chair will be. You grab this chair, you throw it. Matt, you'll block it. You block out segments like that so shit like this doesn't happen. So stop it with your, I'm a professional. Professionals make sure shit like this doesn't happen.
Yeah, every stunt coordinator is not a professional. They're all amateurs.
So yeah, this is not... This is an institutional failure. This isn't Sammy's fault.
Also, like, are you into a Sammy Guevara Matt Hardy match?
If Sammy wins, I'm okay with it.
He should.
It's Sammy beating, like, the guy who... Like, Matt still carries some cash. He's still a relative star. So Sammy beating him does mean something. So if Sammy wins, yes. If Sammy loses, very much no.
If Sammy loses, like, the memes are true.
Oh, God, that's 630 off the stage, which did not end up being a 630. It ended up being a 450 headbutt.
I jumped out of my seat when I saw that. I was like, my man just hit his head and cracked it open. That's what I thought, because like I must have like looked away when the chair shot happened, because I looked back and he was doing the 630 and he was bleeding. I was like, did he like crack heads and make him bleed from a 630?
Because if you go back and watch Bound for Glory 2007, Liam, you'll remember the famous Kurt Angle 450 knee drop, definitely deliberate.
Yeah,
and
Tyler
Sammy Guevara
Bates stole that.
Yes, and Sammy Guevara just invented the 450 headbutt, definitely delivered.
The 450 headbutt rules. It's like my dream move, which is someone just jumps and goes head first down into someone's stomach from the top rope.
That's like, not a move anybody should do.
It's the ultimate Kakeshi.
Oh dear, yeah, Sammy. Like Sammy's 630s are, let's say, untidy at the best of times.
His legs look like he looks like he's spinning out.
Yeah.
Not in the good way. Like when Ricochet does it, it looks so clean, and Sammy just like throws his body.
And like the stage in AEW at the moment is not that high, so asking him to do a 630 off of it, probably like that's less of a good idea than the chair shot. Again, institutional failure.
You should have done double moonsault.
Well, he should have just done a 450 or a swanton or a moonsault, because that stage isn't
Or a
high
double
enough.
stomp.
Like, even if Sammy did good 630s, which he kind of doesn't, that stage still isn't really high enough to guarantee the moment. Like, it's just not high enough. The space between Sammy and the table is like 2 feet. Getting 630 momentum off of that is going to be tough at the best of times, and even tougher for Sammy Guevara's 630s.
When we say, like, he doesn't do a good one, we mean, like, visually it looks killer. Like, I actually think his 630 looks way better than most others because it looks less theatrical. It looks like he's actually just landing and crushing someone.
Because he probably is.
Yeah, and that rules, is what I'm saying. Moves should hurt.
As I said, untidy is a nice word to
Yeah.
describe his 630s.
But killer. And then he headbutted, and it's even better. He should somehow incorporate that into his actual moveset.
Santana and Ortiz trashed Trent's mom's van with a sledgehammer. I never want to see a car on a wrestling show again.
Yeah,
No.
this is good because...
No.
Okay, no, shut up. This is good because it wasn't played off like, oh man, they beat up the Revival's car and the Revival are mad about it. It's like they beat up his mum's car and he's like, no, shit. That's why it's good. It wasn't played up like he's actually mad about it. He was like, that's my mum's car, man.
If they didn't do all of the other car angles, I'd agree with you. I'm sick of cars.
Cars. I fucking love cars.
I want a moratorium on cars in wrestling for 2 years. No more cars. No trashing cars. No coming out in cars. No stealing cars. Not even looking at cars. There should be no cars on these shows. Just keep cars away from my wrestling shows. I'm sick of them. Stop putting cars on wrestling shows.
It's the equivalent of like every E3 showcase when they're like, this is the new Forza and look at this GT.
No filling a car with cement. No dropping a car out of the air. No Braun flipping cars. No having Braun's car broken. Braun does a lot of car.
What about someone getting hit with a car?
Nobody getting hit by a car. No cars on wrestling shows for 2 years. I'm instituting that ban now. If anybody breaks it, I will fine them. I have that authority.
I was trying to think of a car pun, but I couldn't.
Carific.
The car... What about the car order?
Lightning McQueen from the Pixar animated films. Cars.
Car 2.
Which also outstayed its welcome. So there you go. It's a common theme.
So Matt Cardona and Cody.
Oh, I'm going to give out matches going through commercial breaks again, aren't I? Matt Cardona
Yeah,
and
this
Cody
one
Johnson.
shouldn't have. This should have been a squash.
But, like, it does baffle me. Because, like, this match... Like, the match was what the match should have been. It was, like, Cardona and Cody control, quick heat segment for Silver and Reynolds, which was longer than it should have been because it went through a break. And then come back win. And they could have done that in a tidy 6 minutes. They could have done that in a nice in and out, have a good match. Nobody overstays the welcome. The Dark Order look a little good. And they're in and out, it's fine, everyone's happy. But no, for some reason they're like, oh, this match, this needs to go through a commercial break. And people were like, oh, Silver and Reynolds look good. They could have looked good in a 6-minute match too. They didn't need to go through a break.
I wonder if Silver and Reynolds being Brian Myers boys, like they were like wanted to give him something. Like if Matt was like, "Yeah, these are friends of friends, I'll give him something." I don't know.
But like,
maybe
I don't know. I think you make them worse when you put them in a situation where they're making a match needlessly long. As I said, if they did the exact match but just took out like 5 minutes of the middle, it would have been a better match, served the same purpose, and they would have looked just as good.
You're not wrong. I'm
never wrong.
Trying to provide an explanation. We're never wrong. We're just trying to provide an explanation as to why it could have occurred. Matt looked good though.
I thought he looked, yeah, he's
Jacked.
He is very
Good
big.
gear, jacked. Hopefully sticks around more than 6.
The Rough Rider is now called the what is it? Radio Silence now. Get it's a pun. Oh, radio. Play on words.
It's a banger tune.
It is. It's a good theme
I
song.
don't admit. He should bring back the one-legged tights, baby.
He should. I was a fan of the one-legged tights.
Because he was a dope wearing them. Like, that's
Yeah,
the point.
people were like,
Like,
"Oh, they're
people got
stupid." It's
really
like, look
mad.
at him.
They
Look
got-
at him.
I remember, like, that was one of the first moments when I was, like, a young boy delving into the internet wrestling community. And seeing the reaction of, oh man, Zack Ryder's one-legged tights are stupid and they make wrestling look bad. I'm like, that's the point. He's
a
moron.
Jersey Shore dope. Why are we doing this? He's supposed to look stupid. Also, they're cool. They're not even stupid looking. They're cool. Also, tights
really,
don't
yeah.
like wrestling look stupid. Look at Randy Savage. You always make the point of Randy Savage. It's true.
Yeah.
Look at Randy Savage. He's the most idiotic, weird-looking guy of all time. This is
Ultimate
wrestling.
Warrior.
Hulk
Rick
Hogan,
Rude.
hideous-looking bald man, still the biggest star in the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah. Like, all these people that have, like, these eccentric gear, that's the whole point of it. Like, I'm kind of slowly moving into the wrestling is more theater than sport camp. But, I mean, I don't even, like, not that, like, I like my, you know, ultra sport wrestling, my Davey Richards, Eddie Edwards and such, but, like, you know, I also like DDP and Randy Savage having the most 90s, 80s, whatever it was, I don't remember. Oh, everything before the year 2000 doesn't really count. Having the most, like, 90s wrestling feud ever. And, like, big hair, big colours.
After the match, Scorpio Sky challenged Cody because Scorpio Sky's like, I disappeared off Dynamite for 5 months, so, you know, give me a
He's
title
been
shot.
killing it on Dark. If you watched the show, you would know.
I'm not going to watch Dark, and I'm not going to watch the second show. This isn't going to become WWE. This isn't my level of investment in this thing. Let's be real.
I think the next the other show is going to be like a weird Road to mix with wrestling though.
I don't
It's
care.
also going to be an hour. It's not going to be 2 hours.
But the problem is, they already have 2 hours. They already have Dark. They already have Being the Elite. And now they'll have another show. And that's like 4.5, 5 hours of stuff that you have to keep up with. Because Dark is usually 2 hours.
I don't mind it. I also think Dark is going to be like go back to where it was, being like a 30-minute show. I think the only reason that Dark is so long now is because it's taking the spot of the show that was supposed to be on TV by now.
And they have 700 people under contract who need something to do. And they're still signing more! Trent and Chuck are mad that the car is beaten up. Very mad.
And it somehow got even more beaten up in the time period since they got to it. The wheels are gone now.
Yeah. Well, you know, Santana Ortiz might have wanted to scrap it for some parts, make some money off of the van.
Because they don't make money as wrestlers.
They're going to have them apologize to Sue via speakerphone.
That rules.
Then we had our debate.
Yeah, it was alright.
I'm like, I have no strong feeling. I'd hate Eric
Yeah.
Bischoff. He's the fraudiest fraud that ever frauded, and he should never be on a television show. And he looked very orange. Work on your tan, Eric. But it's, I don't know. My biggest problem with this is, where do you go with Orange Cassidy after this?
Well, I don't know, man. It really depends. It's so hard to gauge these things when there's no fans there to react. Like, if Orange was getting, like, monster reactions throughout this entire feud, you'd be like, well, yeah, we can put him in there with anyone next, and it will work. But it's like, you don't really know.
But even, like, from a character sense, like, they did the thing you should do 2 years into Orange Cassidy. Roughly, like,
Make him get serious.
where he gets super serious and cuts the big serious boy promo, and it's like, all right, there you go. That's when you're like, now we're leaving behind the Orange Cassidy character to an extent and transitioning into something else, something new, something different, where he's some meld of serious. But he can't just go back to the thumbs up guy after this, can he?
He's gonna be Honma. He's gonna be peak Honma mania Honma. Where he's a serious wrestler who you're rooting to get the win, but he doesn't necessarily ever get the win.
Yeah, I don't think they should have booked the second Chris Jericho match though.
Yeah, well,
He's probably going to win. They're probably going to come up with some way for him to win. They'll AEW it,
but then
they'll overthink the finish.
if Orange wins, then I'll be disappointed because then that's the whole character gone of what I thought he was going to do. So
So yeah, the entire Honma.
you can't have it. You don't blow Honma winning in the first match of the first G1 he's in.
Hey, it would be the second, in fairness, which is probably worse. Because like, what? This is hardly going to All Out, is it?
No, All Out will probably be like, you know what? All Out will probably be like Jericho and Hager versus Orange and Mike Tyson, baby.
Because that's definitely still happening. Tyson is definitely
yeah.
wrestling while he's building up to that fight. Yeah, that's
Hell
sure.
yeah! And by wrestling, you mean he's gonna punch Jericho once, and then Orange will pin him.
He'll Adam Pac-Man Jones it where he can't be touched. Swole Britt Baker, or Swole Reba even. Rebel had a match.
This ruled. I was so into Reba. She was so happy with everything she was doing. It was great. Delivered well. Love it.
Reba should main event Dynamite.
Yeah. Reba's great.
Rebel.
I thought she was going to pick Hobbs. Because he was standing there as like her security guard.
Yeah.
I thought she'd be like, big swell you will face Will Hobbs.
She didn't specify it would be a female opponent, did she?
Yeah. So is the end game of this going to be like Swole has to team with Britt in this tag deal, or is it going to be?
Well, Britt's not back yet, is she?
swollen. Yeah, but All Out's only like 3-4 weeks away or some shit, isn't it?
Like the quarterfinals of that tag deal are on Monday.
I thought there was still another 2, like, I guess. Well, then maybe it'll be Reba and
those other 2 quarterfinals are on Monday. We had
it'll
two
be Reba and
quarterfinals
Swole.
last week. It'll be Reba and Swole. Yeah, sorry, Rebel.
then-
Don't you give in to the
Reba.
wrong name. Her name is Rebel.
Reba.
I will not allow her to be misnamed by Britt Baker and for that to stick.
She was really good in this match.
It's deliberately being a bad wrestler is clearly in her wheelhouse.
But that moonsault, a hell of a 2 minutes of women's wrestling.
Oh, the whole, especially like there was a ton of discourse around AEW's women's wrestling for this week for a variety of reasons, and then
There's
they have 2 minutes of women's
around
wrestling.
AEW's women's wrestling every week.
Well, it bubbled over because of all the AEW heel stuff.
I didn't fact check this at all. I only saw a screenshot of it, so I don't know if it's true, but I'm going to mention to you because it was really funny. When it was like, someone just screenshotted the Zoom meeting for the heels thing, and it was just all guys.
Oh, of course.
There wasn't a single female in the Zoom call. I don't know if it was true. It could have been any Zoom call, but I'm going to choose to believe it was true because it's that funny.
It's a good bit. But
Why would you, like, we're going to have, like, this thing for women to join, and then we're going to charge them. It's just, ugh.
There's one of 2 things that are perfectly fine there. We're going to have a fan club for wrestlers, for which people will pay into, which, fine, cool. Perfectly good. Or we're going to have this inclusive forum for women where they will feel included and they can talk about wrestling in a way that does not exclude them and does not make them feel threatened or any of that
To
fun
be
stuff.
fair, like, I think that's a great idea.
It is, until you charge $50 for it.
Yeah, it's like, there should be something like that.
It's like, oh yeah, that's a good initiative to make women women feel welcome and safe in the pro wrestling space without idiot men ruining it for them. And then you go and be like, this inclusive space for women will cost $50 a year. And then you're like, what? How does that clear? And then the worst thing is they dig their, pardon the pun, heels in and they make it worse when they don't. Like, that's perfectly fair criticism. And if anyone thinks it's not perfectly fair criticism, they're out to lunch. And then it's like, no, we're doing a good thing here. It's like, come on.
I feel AEW does get a lot of unfair criticism. So perhaps it's just like, they feel like, oh, we've got too much stuff coming at us at once. But, like, how does that make it to the final stage without anyone bringing up the fact that, hey, we're trying to get the best of both worlds here?
Inclusive and paywall are contradictory in terms.
Inclusive, but we're going to benefit from it. We're not just going to help people feel comfortable.
Money.
You know what it reminds me of? Like, we were talking about it, I think, like a week or something ago, where, like, the people who, like, how all these companies are selling face masks.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that's gross, man. I get it, but, like, that's super gross to me.
Profiting on a
let's
pandemic.
profit off of this, baby. Hey, maybe it encourages people to wear them because they get to represent. I don't know.
I bought a Tentamon face mask, so I can't say anything. Though it wasn't an official Digimon one, I bought it on Etsy, so there you go.
Wow. We're big supporters of IP law.
Listen, that's all Etsy is. Etsy is like,
Hey, it's a wonderful kind of day. Learn to walk and play.
and get along.
And not pay for our theme song.
Don't worry about it. Arthur endorses our podcast. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
I don't think we can say that.
You were like, we should have smoking sponsors. So don't you say what we can and can't say.
No, I said we should have them sponsor, not that we're claiming that someone's endorsing our podcast.
Listen.
Hey, they don't know which Arthur we're talking about.
Yeah, it could be Arthur Miller. Could be Big Death of a Salesman. I think he's dead, but that's either here or there.
Could be just a friend of ours called Arthur.
Yes.
He's a big fan.
I can't think of
it.
It could be King Arthur.
Hey, like Scott Steiner in that one Jericho promo.
Sure.
Jericho called him King Arthur, and then like Scott was supposed to say, yeah, I'll go down there and beat you, medieval. And then Scott just bluffed up the entire line and didn't make any sense. Good stuff.
That's because that wasn't WWE, one would assume, was it?
Yes.
So yeah, he was written a bad line. He's like, I'm just going to mumble it. I don't care. Instead of, peak Scott Steiner nonsense.
Yeah, which is like, we should always encourage peak Scott Steiner nonsense.
Next week on AEW Dynamite is Tag Team Appreciation Week. We have Cody versus Scorpio Sky for the TNT Championship.
In a great tag match.
Cody versus Orange Cassidy in a $7,000 obligation match. Again,
the tag team match.
The Young Bucks against Stu Grayson and Evil Uno, which actually should be a very good match. Plus Kenny Omega and Hangman Page against Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy for the AEW World Tag Team titles. That's basically the same number of tag matches there on AEW every week. Yeah. But I'll allow it, I suppose.
But I guess the tag match will main event, and that's how they'll get away with it. They'll be like, tag tournament.
And they have
the Rock and Roll Express are going to be there. Yeah. That's just going to be an FTR Bucks segment where they're all looking in the mirrors, right? Like, it's going to be, look at us in 40 years.
And they'll have the Brainbusters on one side, and they'll have the Rock and Roll Express on the other side. And like, oh, contrast.
And they'll probably all start like the Rock and Roll Express are going to start like disagreeing with the Brainbusters, and then FTR will defend the Brainbusters, and then the Bucks will defend Rock and Roll Express, and then they'll be like at each other a little bit.
We'll all have a hearty good time.
Yep, a hearty good time. Whoa. When Jeff eventually jumps, and they do this exact segment again, but instead of the Bucks, it's the Hardys.
Jon Moxley defeated Darby Allin for the AEW World Championship in the main event, which should have been the main event of All Out.
Out of each other.
This should have been the All Out main event. Get out of here, MJF. This should have been the All Out main event.
MJF's a draw, bro.
No, he's
demo.
Not.
Yeah, he is.
Darby Allin, real draw, real star. The much better match than the freaking
main event
MJF
dropped in the demo. I looked at the charts.
If you go back to our first episode, Liam, you will remember I expressly say we don't care about the ratings, Liam. This is about the creative endeavor that is these shows, not the ratings. We're not nerds who look through quarter hours and base our opinions over what draws. We don't care what draws. We care what is creatively good based on our takes. We are not here for numbers or analytical points of view.
I'm not here about creativity. I'm not here to discuss work rate, characters. Nah, I'm all here about the data, the money, and, that key demo.
Great main event.
Yeah, it was pretty good match. Like 4 stars.
Should have main evented All Out. Should have main evented All Out.
John punched Darby in the fucking face.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Good wrestling.
Wardlow was there. That was nice.
MJF was there too, though, so that kind of takes away from the Wardlow bit.
That coffin drop, your man bit on that coffin drop. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, oh, is it gonna do like a 3-way at All Out? What the fuck?
Darby Allin is the man to dethrone Jon Moxley. Yeah.
Woo! Man, for one sec, see, I'm not one of these people who like can't bite on false finishes just because of like this guy's too big of a star to lose. Like, if you get me, you get me, and I'll be there going whoo like the rest of them.
Well, not anybody. The rest of there's no one there.
Well, no, there's people in the crowd.
All the AEW wrestlers are beating the finish,
and the people in the top section that they allow in,
and the crowd noise that they inject, which is annoying, and they should leave it out.
Yeah, I don't mind it anymore. I'm just ignoring it.
I hate it.
Going with the flow. You know me.
I hate it.
Not analytical. Not here about the demo. I'm all about creativity, baby.
Speaking of creativity, that brings us to WWE NXT, which opened with Ria Ripley versus Dakota Kai. Dakota Kai beat Ria Ripley to become number 1 contender for Io Shirai's championship at NXT TakeOver 30.
Real good match. I really liked this match.
It was.
Yep.
I feel like you're setting up for something else
really
there.
Good
You're
match.
just going to say it's a really good match?
It's a really good match.
Rhea Ripley is still in a weird state where she's, I don't know, what's the point? And she's going on, like a few Mercedes Martinez will be good for her, but like...
That's going to rule though. Mercedes Martinez versus Rhea Ripley?
Yeah, Mercedes should not lose that feud. So is it another Rhea Ripley losing? I don't know. We'll see.
Double count out, some shit like that.
Indeed. But yeah. Adam Cole, the Undisputed Era were strolling into Full Sail. They look very fancy in their suits.
I'll wait to talk about them.
By the way, I do love that we spent 15 minutes on the opening match of AEW, and it's like, good match between Rhea Ripley and Dakota Kai. Time to move on.
Compare the matches, okay? One was full of story stuff.
Hey, this had interference and it had Robert Stone brand stuff. That's all a very important story developments, Liam.
Hey, Robert Stone brand is on brand for the podcast, so.
Indeed. Bronson Reed.
Aaliyah stole my catchphrase.
Oh, what was your catchphrase? Yeah, what's that?
She said, bye. I'm so upset about it.
I think you stole that from me because I used to end our Skype calls with it.
Nope.
Because I know where I stole it from. I stole it from Jeff Cork who ends
Nope,
Game
that
Informer's new
was me.
gameplay today with them.
Nope,
So
that was on me.
there's a
That was
chain
all
of
me.
theft here.
Yeah, but mine was subconscious theft, so it doesn't count.
That's true. Yeah, Ilya clearly a big listener of Wednesday War Games or Saturday War Games or whenever.
Probably. Do we have to get a new logo?
Well, in fairness, the shows are moving. Is it next week or the week after? I think it's the week after. AEW starts bouncing around a lot. So the time we upload will be as inconsistent as AEW airs, which is perfectly fair.
You know what?
What?
Maybe we just drop Wednesday.
Let's just go for War Games. That way we might get sued by WWE, though, because we don't...
We'll add a second
War
R.
Games. Ah, that makes sense.
We'll go War Games.
Bronson Reed
Wardlow
defeats Shane
Games.
Thorne in a perfectly solid little match.
Okay. No, I love this match. This match ruled. They beat the shit out of each other. Yeah. This is one of those cases where it's like, you can clearly tell when two friends are in there because they don't care about hurting each other. They're just like laying it in. I loved it. You could like Thorne, the whole story with Thorne being like jealous of Reed because like Reed's been here way less than him and is like already in like a title match on the biggest takeover. I assume 30. They're gonna promote it and something like that. But you know what I mean? Like, and then they just like, oh, let's not do this like grappling shit. And they just start throwing bombs at each other, go back and forth. I loved it. 3 3/4. I
really did like Thorne being like, listen, let's get rid of the formalities here and just beat the shit out of each other.
It's the best. It and man, Thorne's like running cannonball deal. That scares the shit out of me. Because like normally he like, you know, they do it in the corner when they're sitting down so they can roll onto someone like and not take a big bump. He does it to them when they're on the top rope. So if he hits wrong, he's just gonna go down on his head.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great match.
High risk, high reward.
I really like this match.
Fandango was kidnapped.
Yeah, who gives a shit?
All right.
More kidnappings on Full Sail.
Actually, a match I liked a lot. Only Lorcan, Damian Priest, and Ridge Holland.
Yo, if you didn't think your man was gonna come in here and say that he liked it just as much, 3 3/4, baby.
Yeah, this is the match where I'm like, oh yeah, they just I didn't think it needed to go. Another match that didn't need to go through a break. But other than that,
I liked it. I don't care. It ruled.
It's just suplexes and throwing each other around. Good stuff.
This was a never open weight 3-way.
Yeah, they just went at it for 6 minutes of TV time. Okay.
And it's clear, like, Ridge Holland's getting the Lars Sullivan push where we're just going to have him in there to do cool shit and we're going to, like, avoid, like, him being the focus because this is really mostly, like, Lorcan and Priest doing stuff where, like, Holland would come in and do his big impressive spots.
Yeah, you can tell Ridge Holland is a guy who can do a pretty good head and arm suplex, but if you put him in a singles match, it would be a disaster.
If you put him in a singles match that's over, like, 6 minutes.
Yeah. Where it's not just him doing his shit.
That's why the last thing worked when it was on NXT, because they just never did that until he had the title match. Like, he was just always having 6 to 8 minute matches. It never went over. So, I'm all in on Holland. He needs to drop the, like, Billy stick thing. Mm-hmm. That's stupid. But, like, keep everything else about him. Dude looks like a killer.
He looks like he's been watching his Taz tapes.
Also, I like how this is just a repackaged version of Antonio Cesaro's gimmick.
Yeah, pretty much.
I noticed that, like, they're using, like, the same vernacular, too. Like, Vince McMahon must be a really big fan of rugby.
Well, in fairness, he did actually play rugby this time, so...
Yeah, well, the rugby man who is too dangerous for rugby is a big thing.
He was actually a successful professional rugby player, as opposed to Cesaro, who just played rugby at some stage, apparently.
If he even did, really.
He probably picked up a rugby ball once, and Vince is like, that's your gimmick!
He should be a coffee guy. He loves coffee. Cesaro barista.
Indeed. Damian Priest won to advance to the triple threat, or not the triple threat, the advance from the triple threat into the ladder match at NXT TakeOver to join Bronson Lee, and no longer, what's his name? Dexter Lumis, who has been removed from the match with injury. Liam, you have a cough there, are you fine?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because that was the meme that was going around. That was my subtle acknowledgement of the Twitter meme.
You're a Twitter meme. You know what? They said he had an ankle injury, and I was very upset. They should have said he got the ankle injury from doing the dumbass dive, because that would have been much funnier.
Yeah, but that would make him look like a dumb idiot.
Still, it would be funny. That's all I need. Cameron Grimes lost to Keith Lee, ending the streak of Cameron Grimes matches I liked. I was like,
oh man, I like this match.
This match I didn't care much for.
I like this match too. Not as much as the other matches, but I like this match a lot because it was just Keith Lee was mean, and I love mean Keith Lee.
Yes.
Just beating the crap out of a dude. Cameron
Maybe
Grimes
one
wins
of
1
these
week,
matches
loses
didn't
1
go
week.
through a break. I would have been like, yeah, all right.
But I really like this match.
That sets up freaking Scarlett talking about shit. I'm so not into Killer Cross in NXT.
Okay, so like up to this point in the show, I had decided that NXT had won this week.
Oh, okay. So does it go off the rails from here?
Oh, does it go off the rails from here? And I was like, man, NXT's got this in the bag. You know, the main event, it's going to be Undisputed Era versus Imperium. How could they fuck that up? And then they did what they did. And then they had this. Ooh, now it's a lot more of a closer race. I haven't decided who's won yet.
They did the William Regal thing where he outlined that Loomis is out. And then he said the 2 people who lost the triple threat matches have a legitimate grievance that they weren't pinned. It's like, you booked a tournament of triple
that was
threat
you.
matches.
You did that.
Yeah. It's not a legitimate grievance. What are we
doing?
doing?
You know why they have a legitimate grievance? Because you did it.
You booked a bunch of triple threat matches.
Terrible general manager, clearly.
So the 2 people, it'll be, I can't even remember what the combination of people were, but Balor, Gargano.
It is, Balor, Gargano.
Orny and Thatcher?
Orny. No, didn't Orny take the pin?
He might have.
So Holland.
Oh no, Thatcher got pinned. Yeah.
Holland versus Mystery Man, because we still have another triple threat with.
Oh
Kushida
yeah, and then Gargano and thing. Yeah. There we go. We worked it out.
So Kushida Holland.
Oh no,
probably
Kushida's gonna win. Don't worry about it.
Yo, when they showed that graphic, I literally went, Kushida. Which is like the saddest thing.
Yeah, he's been gone for a while. He hasn't wrestled since the Cruiserweight tournament, has he?
Just better not stay in Japan.
Legado del Fantasma came out, beat up Fandango. Tyler Breeze tried to make the save. He also got beat up.
And then he was like, swerve.
Mm-hmm.
So
where'd Spud go? Is Spud just gone too? Spud's just gone.
He's definitely never getting booked ever again, except to lose on NXT's.
Poor guy. The poor guy. He should never have went back.
He should have never cut that promo.
Damian Priest cutting the promo. Bronson Reed was like, hey, I'm angry. And then they're like, well, why don't we wrestle next week? And then they're like, okay, cool.
He was like, hey, mate. I reckon you had a good match, mate. And then Priest was like, I would have. He's got a really deep voice.
He does.
He was like, don't get excited. I'm going to beat the shit out of you. And then he's like, nah, mate. Let's have a match, mate. And then they're going to have a good match where they'll probably punch each other in the face hard.
Giving you an excuse to continue an Australian accent, Indy Hartwell and Tegan Knox had some trash talk before their match. Tegan Knox won.
Oh, no. Didn't you see... Oh, I could do my own voice, but higher pitched. I don't know how to do that. Didn't you see last week when I beat Shotzi Blackheart? Going British. I'm impressive.
I like that you're struggling with an Australian accent.
Because Australia, like we've discussed this before, there's so many variations of Australian accent. Also, 4 Australians on this show? Good work, good representation.
There you go. Australia's doing better than Ireland in international representation, and one of our people was thoroughly cancelled. So it's,
I was going to say they're doing really well.
We have Finn and Sheamus. We will take Finn and Sheamus, and Becky is pregnant, but we'll take her too.
Fucking snakes. So he's so thoroughly cancelled that his title reign was cancelled.
Yeah, he just doesn't exist anymore. It's like he's not champion anymore. There you go. Pat McAfee joined commentary. Pat McAfee, he has the most annoying voice. How is he like? This is probably me being utterly unself-aware because people probably think I have a very annoying voice too. But nonetheless, how is he like a broadcaster? His voice is so annoying.
Well, because he's like stereotypical American jock, like broadcast guy. That's why.
All right. I was like,
he talks loud. So he talks loud and with confidence.
Just so people pretend he talks with sense.
Yeah.
It's the MJF syndrome.
Man, he ruined everything from the minute he was out there.
He's not good at all.
His commentary was awful. The main event, which I was really excited for, got about 10% of the screen time for the last 10 minutes.
He's really bad. I did appreciate though when someone went for a pinfall in the Knox and Hartwell match, and Mauro was like, and McAfee was talking, and Mauro just steamrolled him. It's like undercover. It's like no matter what, they will enforce their WWE commentary rules, and I appreciate that.
All right, so what?
Main event. Imperium defeated Undisputed Era to retain.
Did they? I don't remember
titles.
that match even happened.
Yeah, they did win after distraction.
There was more time spent on Pat McAfee's fucking face than there was on anyone involved in the ring. On fucking Kyle O'Reilly's goddamn return to the ring.
Alright, I'm going to start with a simple question that should be easy to answer. Who is the babyface here?
I think Cole.
But in terms of presentation, who's the babyface here?
I think Cole. I
don't know.
I think McAfee was such an unbearable dickhead on this show.
But Cole is a gotten to goof who's called, like, he looks like a nerd.
Okay, that's a different thing. Cole is the babyface. He is a gotten to dork who is mad about someone saying mean things to him. But who gets knocked out.
He's knocked out by a freaking punter.
One kick.
Who cares about punters? Like nobody could name an NFL punter. Liam, name me an NFL punter.
Aren't like all of them Australian now?
Exactly. You're the person whose sole job is to kick the ball far. I can swing my leg good. Well done. It's
like the thing is, okay. Theoretically, that should mean he should have a cool kick, a good kick. You know what I mean? Like, I get that.
Shouldn't.
But if a dude can punt, he can punt ahead. Ask for Randy Orton. But the thing is, like, you just had this whole thing about how Adam Cole is the longest reigning NXT champion ever, and then you have him get knocked out by a fucking goof.
Yeah.
Who just spent the last 15 minutes embarrassing the entire show because he's so fucking annoying.
He is very annoying. Very annoying. Like, even if he wasn't annoying, his voice is just supremely annoying. He's an annoying person.
And fucking Phillips giving, like, the Owen Hart, like, hey man, don't do that. What are you doing? Like, showing, like, actual concern about the things that Pat's saying when he's making fucking short jokes.
Yeah.
It's not like he's saying anything actually controversial.
Not even
he's just making fun of a dude's height. Also, so now we're suddenly acknowledging that Adam Cole's short? But the entire other run we're pretending he's 6'1"? Yeah. And now we acknowledge that he's short. What a great way to make your brand look good when you with the ESPN connection.
Really getting people over there when you're with your mainstream attention.
The first time they ever see him, he's whining on a show and getting mad at things the journalist said to him. It's like, that's not what makes a guy cool.
He's a cool babyface who definitely turned babyface.
You know what would have made him cool? If when those guys were trying to talk shit to him, he turned it around, cut a promo on them, embarrassed them.
And walked out like a cool guy.
But no, he had a hissy fit on the show and then left and then apologized on Twitter.
And then got knocked the fuck out on NXT.
Imagine Stone Cold Steve Austin. The coolest guy in wrestling, right? Goes out there, beats the shit out of everyone, cuts a promo, and then he goes back and he gets on his phone and he's like, I'm really sorry for the things I did this week. That instantly makes him look like a fucking moron. And then Mike Tyson knocks him out.
Yeah.
And it's like, I was so into this show. I really liked NXT. I'm not going to watch this match.
You're going to know. You have to watch journalism.
I'll have you know I haven't watched a single takeover since we started this show.
Journalism.
I literally have not watched a single takeover since we started this show. I haven't watched takeover in like 3 years.
I tweeted about this the other day, but like celebrity angles in wrestling.
I get them.
No, I don't. My thing is, I don't. Because, like, Pat McAfee, he's not a nobody. He has an audience. But, like, in terms of lists, he's a C-list star at best. And,
but the thing is, like,
there is no
instance... can always only get C-list stars.
But the problem is, no, it doesn't. No. Because, like, the best instances of like, celebrity involvement are Mike Tyson, or Floyd Mayweather, or Cyndi Lauper, or Andy Kaufman, or Dennis Rodman, or Karl Malone. People at
Dennis
the
Rodman
time,
ruled.
Legitimately A-list stars in their
Stephen
prime.
Amell.
Well,
up there with the greats.
But, like, the only time it's ever worked is like actual A-list, like the idea that you
Hugh
get Jon
Jackman.
Stewart to be on the Daily Show, or Hugh Jackman to do something on Raw, or you get JWoww to do something on Impact. The idea is like you get the
Snooki.
Jersey Shore, the Snooki at WrestleMania. The idea is you get the Jersey Shore audience to watch wrestling. You get the Daily Show audience to watch. You get Pat McAfee's audience to watch wrestling, and it never works like that. It never works.
To be fair, if there's ever a chance for a crossover, it might be with Pat McAfee's audience.
But but his audience is relatively small. And the other thing, not only has it only ever worked with an A-list star, it's nearly always only ever worked in conjunction with another star. Donald Trump with Vince McMahon, Mike Tyson with Steve Austin. Floyd Mayweather is probably the exception, but Big Show's a relatively big star.
Also, Big Show doesn't need to be a star because his whole thing is his aura.
Yes, and Floyd Mayweather is Floyd Mayweather.
Floyd Mayweather could sell money to, like, anyone. Like, I don't even need an analogy. That's how much, like, you can get it from that man.
Yeah, Andy Kaufman with Jerry Lawler. Karl Malone, Dennis Rodman, Jay Leno with Hulk Hogan. Like,
The best.
Mr. T with Hulk Hogan. All of these are always with big star. It's the intersection of the mainstream star with the major wrestling star that works. Doing a C-list star that, you know,
Bob Barker with Chris Jericho.
there you go, the big guns. But doing a star like Pat McAfee, who, as I said, he's not a nobody, but you know, he's not a mainstream star by any means. With Adam Cole, who you've made look like a nerd in front of the mainstream audience, and then Triple H is the one who goes on ESPN because Triple H is the real star. And it's just everything about this is bad, and I reject the premise of the celebrity involvement in the first place.
I hate Triple H so much.
Ugh.
He's so bad. Do you know there's a category? I went on the WWE Network the other night, right? To watch some good old fashioned Attitude Era. # bring back the Attitude Era. And I was scrolling down, right? And I found a playlist. Alright? You know what this playlist was called?
What was it called?
Triple H's NXT.
Oh,
And it was just every takeover opening, every Triple H promo, every Triple H segment in NXT history in one playlist. Like, who would ever give a fuck enough to watch that?
fans of Triple H, or Triple H himself, is probably like, guys, I need
Oh
a playlist.
yeah, it's
and
his
stuff.
personal playlist. It should have been Triple H's playlist.
Oh god, because as we all know, NXT is really a vehicle for one man and one man alone, the game Triple H, and it's failed because it's thoroughly undermined his attempts to overtake control of the company because he got killed by AEW.
Because there's a way better show that feels like a way more mainstream product. We were going about how like these celebrity angles only work if they're A-list celebrities. I think there's only one. They can either be A-list celebrities with other stars, right? Or they can be cool celebrities. You know what I mean? People that may not be but people who are cool in their field or have a cool aura about them.
Like
not
Poppy.
jerk-offs. Yeah.
They should do a Poppy against Io Shirai match.
But like legitimately though, Poppy is cool. Like even if you don't know her, she's not a mainstream thing. She's still a cool act to have. And it's stuff like you can do that, but he's such a twat. And he's such an unbearable dickhead, and that's why he has to be the heel.
The worst thing, like, they've done Adam Cole's baby. This has been Adam Cole's babyface turn. Like, what are we doing here?
You know what this has to end with, right? Like, Cole's, like, fucking up Pat. This is my new prediction, alright? Locking it in. Cole's gonna be beating the shit out of Pat McAfee, right? Mm-hmm. Blah, 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 blah. And then Carl's gonna come in, and he's gonna knock Cole out, and then Pat's gonna pin Adam Cole.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be the real Adam Cole face turn.
Adam Cole, baby. So that's NXT. I'm sure it's a show you enjoyed.
I was gonna say the one thing I did like about the main event was Kyle like taking the leadership role while this is all going on, and like getting upset that like with what Cole's doing, and like Roddy getting upset with what Cole's doing and telling Cole to just like not go in there and not like aggravate the situation. So it's like, I think that's going to be the weirdest part. Is this is all a vehicle for the Undisputed Era split.
Oh, I hate everything. There's nothing I don't hate.
But like that's definitely where this is going. This is the Undisputed Era split.
What is your match of the week?
You go first. Let me look at my matches.
I think I will stick with the AEW opener. I think that was my match of the week. But there is a lot of good wrestling matches on these shows. I agree with you there. A lot of good wrestling.
I'm going to go with Darbs and Mox. They did a really good job of making it feel like a big match. which in these COVID times is hard to do.
And it should have been the main event of All Out. What's your show of the week?
It was NXT for so long.
Oh.
They had it for so long. It's AEW.
No. I'll give it to NXT just so they lose 2-1 instead of 2-0. Because typically poll 75-25 AEW. So there you go. If you would like to vote in the poll every week, you can follow us at War Games Pod. You can follow me at Garrett Kidney. You can't follow Liam at Larrikin, even if you say nice things to him on Twitter. Which we're the best AEW review in the Voices of Wrestling podcast network.
Suck it.
To one person.
Suck it, Everything Elite. Suck it. Joey Lanza behind a paywall. We're not behind a paywall. We're here giving you this free. That being said, pay me. Anything. I'll endorse anything. I'll do anything. We're the best. We're the best. We're the best.
Speaking of Everything Elite, if you'd like more AEW coverage in your podcasting feed, you can...
Why would you, though?
Elite. If
Why
you'd like more
would you?
WWE television show coverage in your podcast feed, you
It's
can
gonna
listen
be
to Shake the
even.
Ropes.
It's gonna be even better if they didn't see the tweet and they just think it's me shitting on the show.
Liam was
Whoever
causing
sent that, I want you to know you
drama.
made my day. You made my day when I woke up and I read that.
Liam told me that he's legitimately, this is a thing he said to me, I'm not even doing a bit,
No,
that he's considering
how dare you.
printing out the tweet, framing it, and putting it on his desk.
On the podcast table, just to remind me of how great we are.
Thanks for listening, and bye-bye.
Now I gotta think of a new catchphrase. Ready?
Uh-huh.
Girl, bye.
Terrible.
Bye. No, ain't no lie singing bye bye bye.